Most of you would be familiar with Sharan Hegde or Finance with Sharan. He is one of India's largest financial influencers. But there is a problem with influencers, and one that SEBI has identified almost a year ago. Influencers deliver advisory content in public. Apart from that, many of them create clickbait pieces, sometimes misleading pieces, and build large followings. So last year SEBI proposed that the funding mechanism for influencers, which was regulated entities like brokers paying them to do their posts and videos, that needs to be curbed. All SEBI regulated entities need to be cut off from unregulated entities like Finfluencers. After almost a year of consultation and deliberation, a few weeks ago, the SEBI board finalized this line of thinking. It said that this is the shape that regulation would take. Now, Hegde presents an interesting dilemma for SEBI because Hegde has got an investment advisor license in an entity that he owns and on whose board of directors he sits. Now, the question is that when you are an owner of an RIA entity, when you are on his board of directors, the posts that you put out, are they subject to the SEBI advertising code for investment advisors or are they not? Because this is a very stringent code, most advisors, whenever they put out any promotional content, whether labeled as advertisement or not, have to comply with lots of things. They have to state their registration number, their office address. They have to make sure that the advertisement is not misleading or in any way unfairly talks up their business. All kinds of rules have to be adhered to. Now, Hegde takes the position that he is separate and the advisory entity called One Centurion, also called personal CFO, is separate. But in practice, does this hold good? Think again, he is the owner of it, he sits on the board of directors. In fact, in the registration of the RIA entity, the brand name taken is that of One Finance Club. Now, what is One Finance Club? So you have to dial back a little to Sharan Hegde and his ecosystem. So there is Sharan Hegde the individual, there is One Finance Club, which is an educational course provider through which he gets the most of his business, and then there is this new brand name called Personal CFO. Now, in the RIA entity's registration, he has given One Finance Club as the brand name, which means at the very least that all of One Finance Club's posts have to comply with the SEBI advertising code. And SEBI has to take a broader call that can you have such a structure where you have an unregulated entity on the front end, a regulated entity on the back end, and the unregulated entity can put out any content that they choose without any kind of oversight. The second dilemma or the second issue that SEBI needs to look at closely is the issue of educational courses. This has become a huge business. Hegde alone makes about 51 crores a year from his educational courses. He makes another 9 crore from distribution of various financial products. The RIA business for him right now is very small. His assets under advice are just 75 crores and he just has 150 clients because it's a recent business. It only started operation 3 months ago. But already some of his promotional posts for that business may come under regulatory scrutiny. For example, a post recently that talked about hiring hundreds of people for the advisory service and which was not compliant with the advertisement code, nor was any permission taken from the regulator's appointed body for such advertisements, which is BASL. So it is time that SEBI, which has proposed this separation, to wake up and give its ruling on whether this kind of business model is possible, because if the answer is yes, the ecosystem is going to rapidly move towards the same business model.